Joining us. My name is Sanjay Gupta. I'm delighted today to be joined by Natalie Hoof, who is the founder of a wonderful new charity called Hidden Disabilities. Hidden Disabilities has been going for more than a year now. But Natalie, tell us everything about it. Tell us why you're here today and what you have in store for us.
Okay, so the charity was launched in August last year, and we did a charity launch in October. It was right near, as close as we could get to POTS Awareness Day, because the first ball that we did it on was for to raise awareness for POTS, which is a condition my daughter has. I set up the charity to help raise awareness and support for hidden disabilities, because I noticed there's a real lack of support and lack of understanding. And yeah, I wanted to make a difference, create some very inclusive areas and a community, because there's a lot of isolation issues. I did notice that lots of conditions have similar traits, and lots of people have more than one condition, as you will know, and they all struggle with similar things. They've all got identity issues. A lot of them have got mental health difficulties, isolation issues, confidence issues. Lots of them have suffered gaslighting. And as it happens, the more I'm getting to know the community, I'm noticing even more similarities as well. And I have noticed that a lot of people have suffered trauma. In fact, practically all of them of our members have suffered some sort of trauma in their life. And there's also some where it affects the entire family, which is something else that I'm noticing. So if mum's got a condition, then it's very likely that the children seem to have something. It might not necessarily be the same thing, but it might be that they're neurodivergent. And then the grandparents might have hypermobility, and it just seems to be that there is a bigger connection than what I was expecting. And I'm learning so much from the community. They're an amazing community. They are so resilient and adaptive. They're extremely creative, and actually very sensitive. They seem to be the carers of the community. A lot of them are ex-nurses. A lot of them are, they're not like really gentle, but they're just really empathetic. So I don't know if that's why, or one of the traits. A lot of them are hypermobile. A lot of them are neurodivergent. And as I say, a lot of them have suffered trauma. And a lot of them have suffered domestic abuse. So there is some definite connections there. It'd be interesting to see what research is out there, and what sort of understanding is there. So yeah.
Why do you think that the medical profession tends to neglect these patients or fails to recognize them uh, as, genuine people who are struggling with a condition that is impacting on them so greatly? Is it ignorance? Is it a lack of knowledge? Or is it arrogance where you're not prepared to admit that you lack knowledge?
And I never said anybody was neglecting them, but I hear from them that they are not listened to, and that they're not understood. I think a lot of the time it is that it's difficult to explain if it's a chronic pain or a chronic fatigue. That's really difficult to explain that. And if you bear in mind that everybody communicates in different ways and everybody understands in different ways, trying to, a lot of the time it's sort of like on a scale from 1 to 10, what is your pain level? And it's like, how can you do that? Especially if it's chronic pain as well. You get used to that pain, and that level, that plateau is different to what somebody else's would be. So I think that is really hard. I know when my daughter was trying to explain to me about not being able to eat, for instance, and I was saying, what do you mean you can't eat yet? And she kept saying it, and I said, I don't understand what do you mean? And she said, I can't chew yet. And I was like, oh, you can't actually use your jaw? And she was like, no, I can't. Because I was trying to understand, do you mean you feel sick? Do you mean you are too tired? Do you mean you know what I mean? So it's like, it's helping people to explain how they're feeling, and it's really hard. And then you've got somebody who is listening to that who might not be that good at interpreting somebody. So it's extremely difficult. It's not like seeing somebody's got a broken arm, is it? And being able to fix it. So I think one of the major problems is communication.
I agree with you in terms of communication, but I have a slightly different um, assessment of this, which is that you have to listen as a doctor, and you have to take out that kind of mental dialogue that's going on in your own head. Oh, and comparing this person to someone else, but actually saying the very fact that you're here in front of me talking to me is because you need something. You are asking for help, and that's all I'm interested in giving you. What you describe doesn't have to fit with my. It's not your job to help me make sense of it. That's my job. My job is to
That's
listen
true.
hard enough
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
to.
a lot of them are just not being listened to.
Well,
You know,
that's exactly it.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're just being told that there's nothing wrong and it's in their head and they're being sent away,
yeah,
and they're being told it's anxiety, or it's hormones, or some of them are um women in their sort of early 30s, and they're having to literally take their dads with them
I know.
because the doctor's not listening to them like a
Mm,
child.
mm,
And there's nothing wrong with them mentally. These are very intelligent women who, were flyers with their jobs and things. And this is happening, and it's quite shocking. But it is really quite common. Um, but they don't know that. So when you've got somebody just one on their own, you think, oh, well, I was unlucky, or maybe it's me, or maybe I'm being sensitive. But when you start talking to groups of people and they're all saying the same, which is one of the benefits of the charity, because we can look at the whole umbrella of hidden disabilities. We're not just looking at one specific condition, we're looking at all of them. And when they're all saying something similar, it's nothing to do with the condition, it is to do with the system, basically.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think these people, I mean, often patients, in my own experience, say they felt unseen. That's why this tag of invisible,
Yeah.
hidden disabilities comes, right?
Yeah.
It is, they're not hidden, they are not unseen. It is that the doctor refuses to see them. That is why they feel unseen. They are not being seen because people are not trying to see them. It's not, it's a fault with the medical profession, because the medical profession has has started losing its skills in terms of actually taking each person as an individual, spending enough time building rapport, and then really connecting with them. And when you start doing that, because the reality is, as a mum, when your daughter says, I cannot eat, you, I am sure, would never have turned around and said, "Oh, well, that's because you're mad," or you would have tried to work out, and you did,
Mm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what medical professionals need to do.
Absolutely. And one of the things that our members are wanting to do, and I don't know if we can, I don't know if it would be allowed, but they would really like a list of a sort of like a doctors that they kind of like have approved, amongst themselves, and because they will talk, obviously, they talk amongst themselves, and they talk in the community and say, I've got a great doctor, Dr. Sanjay is wonderful, he's fantastic with POTS, and he listens and he cares, and they'll talk, and they will, and then they'll mention another doctor, maybe with a different speciality, and they're like, wouldn't it be great if we could put all the good ones together? Because there is some fabulous doctors, and then there's some very probably more old school doctors who are not so patient led, and are not listening, and it's I suppose it's like any profession, but some are much better with people with hidden disabilities than others. Yeah, so I don't know if that is something we can create.
Yeah, I think it boils down to humility. Where there is humility, where there is this idea, this understanding that we don't know everything, and therefore we should have an open mind. Where there's humility, that is where there is humanity. Where there is pride, there is prejudice, and this is the problem. Um,
There is a lot of prejudice.
mm,
Um, I was really shocked to find out about ableism. I didn't even think it was a thing. And
ableism. What's
there's a lot
ableism?
of ableism. Yeah, there's a
What does
lot of
that mean? Ableism?
it's like sexism or racism, it's about people with disabilities and people not treating them equally or fairly or being abusive towards them. And yeah, in this day and age, you wouldn't expect that to be a thing, would you? But it is. And a lot of people get very differently if they've got a mobility device. So if my daughter's because a lot of people have dynamic disabilities where they have their flares and their triggers, and some days are worse than others, and sometimes they can move around and have much more energy, and then other times they need a walking stick or some crutches, or they might need a power wheelchair or whatever it is that helps them get through the day and have a bit of reserve left or just to manage. And if they are in a mobility device or they have a mobility aid, they are treated very differently to if somebody can't tell that they've got a disability, but they are still struggling to walk, to stand, and to move around, because people can't see it and they don't understand it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we need to do as a charity, which is something that I want to work on next with our campaign, which I'll tell you about the campaign, is there's certain facilities that are out there to help people with disabilities, like um, disabled toilets, disabled parking, and seating on coaches and buses and things like that. And people are actually being accosted if they use these and they don't have a mobility aid, which is really quite sad. So a lot of them can't drive because of their disabilities. So they are reliant upon public transport. And then they're nervous to get public transport in case they can't get a seat, for instance, and they're going to have to stand. And how do they ask somebody else for a seat? They don't always want to be obvious and wear a lanyard, because that can be really helpful, but it can also make them vulnerable and make people aware, hey, I'm disabled. So that can go against them as well. So some of them don't want to do that, and they shouldn't have to do anything they're not comfortable with. But, trying to get a seat on a train when there isn't many places, or on a bus, is difficult. A lot of them have got shouted at when they park in disabled parking. Most of them actually have got shouted off and told off for putting their feet up. And people with POTS need to elevate their feet. And yeah, and the toilets. It's really, really bad. So that is something that we definitely need to raise awareness on. And we're going to launch a campaign at our charity ball called But You Don't Look Disabled. And people can get involved with the campaign. And that will be one of the things that we will be raising awareness for, will be these amenities that are available for disabled people that disabled people are struggling to use.
Okay, so what kind of I mean, what kind of things are you hoping to do in this campaign in terms of practical things? Have you got any practical solutions? Because when I hear you talk about this, I
Mm.
completely get the fact that there is prejudice, but how do you educate people? How do you educate people? Because that requires a complete shift in thinking, doesn't it?
Tough. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, going to need lots of help and support from the community. So one of the things that we're going to do, Hull College are getting involved with us, and they're going to do it as like a pilot scheme. So they are going to take it across all of their different subjects and the syllabuses and start talking about but you don't look disabled with the students, and the students are going to create all different using all different types of mediums, like it could be written word, or it could be in a song, or it could be abstract, some AI work, it could be sculpture, it could be anything, but to show how it feels and to put that message across under "but you don't look disabled." And using lots of different types of mediums, because people understand and communicate in different ways, it opens up that standard way of communicating. So hopefully we'll be able to get through on different levels to different types of people. We need one of the things I want to do is I want to create a whole library of case studies. So like 100 or whatever case studies of all different types of hidden disabilities, so that we can put them on our website, and people can use them for in different manners. So it might be an employee has somebody come to them and tell them their staff has got a certain condition, and they could look it up, and they could look at the library and think, all right, and they could understand it a bit better because somebody would be explaining it to them. So it could be used to educate people. And if people are the type of people who are interested and want to learn, would come on it and would be able to look at all these different types and conditions and listen to people explaining them and how they impact their life, you know, what it is, that lived experience. The other thing that it would be useful for is for the people themselves who've got the conditions, when a family member or a friend is not understanding, you know, what it feels like to have fibromyalgia, what it feels like to have ME, and they could say, well, you know, and sometimes people listen to somebody else better than they will a family member, or a family member might find it difficult to explain or be fed up of explaining it all the time. So they could also use the case studies and say, look, here is a load of people who've got fibromyalgia, listen to what they are saying, and it would educate people. So that's one way that we can do it. And I think if we've got a lot, it could be very helpful. We could even put it on a mobile app, so that people could literally send it to, you know, pick the ones that they represent with and send it on to people. So I think that is something. I need ideas from the community. I need the community to tell us what would be helpful, and they can get involved with the campaign "But You Don't Look Disabled." So we can do offshoots in so many different ways. We could do some huge questionnaires and and pull in a load of statistics. You know, there's lots of things. We could get a load of doctors together discussing it. We do have a LEAP group, which is our lived experience advisory panel. And these are our service users. And we get together once a month and we talk about certain topics. So it could be public transport on the train. And we've got Hull Trains who are going to get involved with us and do some videos and find out what it's like for somebody on a wheelchair, and, you know, trial some different things. So we will connect with our businesses and get them involved and understanding, and, you know, to create more support for our community. It's going to be very organic, Dr. Gupta, and we're going to learn as we go along, and it will grow. I'm looking for ideas, but I do need the community to support the charity and tell us what it is that, you know, we need to do.
The obvious, I mean, I'm sure that, of course, educating people that there are patients who may be very, very debilitated without looking unwell is a good idea. The question really, in my mind, the real challenge is that when you do this, how does one differentiate those people who truly have a hidden disability compared to those patients who may then use that as an opportunity to abuse facilities? Do you know what I mean?
How can you How
Well,
can
these
you
are the
do that?
challenges, right? These are the challenges that
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, I
how do
don't
you
know.
know that? Because the problem then is that it may well be that everyone starts. Do you know what I mean? That's where that's the challenge. How does one make these patients who have hidden disabilities be seen as having those conditions compared to perhaps other people who may say, okay, well, there's a parking going there. I'll just park there and do you know what I mean? There is that scope, isn't there? That's
There
the,
is, and you will always get people who abuse the system. I mean, you'll get people who shoplift, and and people turn in a blind eye. But the majority of people are honest and good, and the majority will follow the rules. But you will get some who will abuse the system. I don't see how we can,
yeah.
how you can police that. I have no idea.
Because obviously, if people are abusing the system, then the people that you've done this for are not necessarily getting the majority, the benefit of your. Do you know what I mean? These
I
are
do.
real issues, and that's where one has to think creatively and say, okay, how do we make these people be seen? Not only to those people who are wanting to see them, but also the people who can't be bothered to want to see them, but it becomes obvious to them that actually these are patients who are different. These are not malingerers. These are not people who are just trying to, uh, you know, take advantage, but they actually have a problem. How does one make them seen? That's why these kind of badges or lanyards, etc. I guess that's what they're trying to achieve, but of course, it's a difficult.
But you can just buy a lanyard.
I know, I know, I know. It's just, well, it
So
is, but it
if,
just
if you're
well,
if you're if you're a con merchant and
yeah.
you
No,
you
no,
you
I
want to
know.
wangle something, you're going to get some like that. But yeah, I think it's very, the trouble is they give a bad name for all the people who aren't
Absolutely.
like that, and
Well,
it'll be a really small percentage.
yeah,
And it's that's in that, unfortunately, that is part of our society. And um yeah, we're always going to have some rotten eggs, I'm afraid.
I know. Well, those are the things that would, I think that I think is the thing that will really help. Where, how do you make patients who feel unseen seen by the
I
world, not just
Yeah.
people who are willing to invest the time in seeing them?
um Yeah, I mean, there's been some people who are really struggling just to get out, and it's a real challenge because their confidence is so low,
Mm.
and it's so difficult. And sometimes they've made such an effort, and then somebody's being ableist towards them, and it's just taken them right back again. So one of the things that we're really trying to do with the charity, the thing that I've started with, is building the community. It's about helping people feel like they've got a place, and that they won't be judged, and that they'll be accepted, and they don't have to mask, and they can just be themselves. And because most of the people, or all of the people who are members, have got struggles that you can't see, um, they get it. They don't need an explanation. They don't even need to know what's wrong with somebody. It's there, and they're supportive, and it's not even, I don't even think the disability should be a thing. It should be, things should be just adapted and put in place so that people turn up and they think, okay, well, I can't regulate my body temperature. There's a blanket there. I need a blanket. Oh, there's a fan. Oh, there's some footstools I can put my feet up. There's a hydration station. Oh, there's somewhere for me to go lay down. And it shouldn't be this big deal. There should be just areas, there should be just facilities, and everything should be adaptable. But we're a long way off that. And I mean, our charity ball, we put all these things in place, and we have a low sensory room, and always somewhere to sit, and quiet areas, and different things going on for different people. We've even got our inflatable sofas, haven't we, now, footstools and blankets. So people, if they've got chronic fatigue, and pots and things like that, where they can go and get a comfy seat and put the feet up while we have our presentations. So I'm trying to share other charities and businesses and venues what you can do, because the low sensory room, or the area where people can go and crash, you know, and it's private, then turn the lights out and there's a blanket, weighted blanket and mattresses and things. They don't have to get used a lot. It doesn't even matter if they don't get used in an evening, but the fact is that they're there, and it's a safety net, and people will come along and you know, they know, oh well, if I've got a problem, I can leave this room at any point and nobody's going to be tutting or, you know, disappointed in me. And you know, and it's just knowing that facilities are there, which is really helpful. And yeah, I think if we start showing people that this can be done, and it can be done in a lovely way. Our ball looks amazing. It doesn't look awful. They're not like chairs for disabled people. They're just chairs that are comfy and you can elevate your feet. So I also think there's a huge stigma with being disabled, and I think for a lot of the younger people, a lot of the time it's aimed at the elderly, and that is so out of date. And I just don't understand why it hasn't evolved more quickly, and it's just out of date in so many ways. And the hidden disability community seem to have been forgotten. Um, you know, they're just kind of sent home and get on with it. And it's like, if it's a chronic condition, what do they do?
Yeah.
People say to me all the time, "Oh, I've nearly said a name. I'm not allowed to say a name." They'll say, "Oh, how's your daughter now? You know, is she okay?" And I think, well, it's a chronic condition, you know. She's not going to be okay. I mean, we manage, you know, and you make life adaptable, and you can still have a nice life, but it is different, and she's not suddenly well. You know, and my friends and my closest friends and my family still say it, and it makes me cringe inside. And I think, how don't you know it now, even now? Um, yeah, and then people with the conditions, they're having to do this, justify themselves and be questioned, and sometimes literally prove that they're disabled. You know, like, get out of your chair and walk and show me how bad at walking you are. This has happened. Um, and yeah, things like that. And you just think, I can't believe that. So that things like that go on, but they do. Yeah.
So the I guess tell me a little bit more about the ball that you're organizing this Friday. Do you still
Yeah.
have spaces? If you have, how does one get in touch with you? What's on offer? What do people? How will patients who are watching this, for example, how could they benefit by attending? Because obviously it's going to require a lot of energy. It may
Yeah.
require money as well. Uh, how, what is the advantage to someone coming to this ball?
Okay. Um, be Well, when we first found out my daughter had POTS, we thought we was alone. And we went somewhere and we met a lot of people, and it was really um lifting. It was very inspirational, and to feel part of a community, to realize you are not alone, um, to make friends, to be with like-minded people and people who are very supportive, for isolation and for mental health. That is a huge thing. At the last our launch, if you remember, there was Melanie and Kate who I met, and they hadn't been out of the house for 3 months, either of them. Both had the same conditions, and both really lovely. And I introduced them both because I knew they would connect. And when they got chatting, they actually found out they lived on the same street. And they literally lived a few doors away from each other. So they said straight away, they were like, "Oh, we'll be able to have pajama days," you know. And they've become really good friends. And when they go to events now, they'll come together, you know, they'll car share or they'll get a taxi together. And so I think feeling part of something, um, being part of a community, that's absolutely huge. And this year we have got those two are actually speaking. So they've gone from being in a dark place, feeling isolated, one of them was feeling hopeless, and now feeling like, things are so much better and she's got support. And so coming out and feeling the energy in the room and being part of that is a big deal. And seeing, hearing other people's stories and seeing how other people are managing around the place, with different things that are available. That's that's a big deal.
Yeah.
We'll be showing at the event different things that the charity's been doing, all our events and things that we're creating. So we've done, oh my gosh, about 80 events in our first year. We might get to 100 in our first year. So there's loads. Next year we'll be doing more virtual, because we've noticed when I look at the website, I can see there's people in different areas looking. So I'm like, okay, we need to do some virtual ones as well. And obviously we have got entertainment, so we've got a pianist on when we're having our meal, and we've got a live band on afterwards, and a disco and a DJ in the rooftop bar afterwards. There's also other areas that people, so if they don't want to dance, there's other areas where they can go and have a quiet chat. We've got blankets and heaters on the rooftop bar if they want to escape from it all and just go chill. There's all sorts of different things going on. So there's influential people in the room too who are going to be learning, businesses and doctors and nurses and all sorts of people who are going to be learning and wanting to connect. So there's the networking side of things as well, who they're sitting next to is going to listen and learn from them. So yeah, there's a lot of different things from the event. For those who are really struggling financially, we have given free tickets. So if people reach out and they're really struggling, we do try and do that, because we want to get people there. We want to give them the opportunities. We do have a discount code as well, which for people who've got disabilities, which gives them 20% off. So there was that option too. The website is hiddendisabilities.org.uk, and we're on all the social media. Actually, we're not on what's the one where they look at the pictures really quickly? We're not on that one yet.
Right. Instagram?
No, we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. There's another one.
Snapchat.
Oh,
Snapchat.
not on that. maybe later. So yeah, so that's good. We've started doing awareness talks as well. So I did a presentation for NATS, which is National Air Traffic Control, which is a massive company. And so we will be doing more of those. So that's to help businesses or colleges and people like that understand. So that will be good. And we've started getting volunteers together and champions and some ambassadors, and Sanjay is one of our ambassadors, and Chronically Jenny, and she does like helpful hints and tips and things on our website. And we've just got another lady called Cara, who is The Only Way is Pink. She's got fibromyalgia, and she's going to do like household chores, but like bite-sized, and how she manages to keep on top of things even though she has fibromyalgia. So we'll build more and more resources and things. We'll have loads. We're just getting going. We're literally just getting going. So not quite been a year. I mean, we registered in August, but August, but we launched in October, didn't we? We started our events properly in January this year. So watch this space.
I guess I mean, I was just thinking about it's far more difficult to unsee a community of 1,000 people compared to just one isolated person. And
Yeah.
that's why, if this is a condition where people feel unseen,
Mm.
the ways by which they can be seen or they can maximize their chances of being seen is to come together and work as a
Absolutely. You've got, you put a load of voices together and you can sing very loudly.
absolutely.
Um, yeah.
And also the other thing is not only can you sing, but of course for for the money-minded world that we live in, that starts becoming a client base
Oh,
for
yes.
businesses, etc. They will say,
Mm,
okay, well, these are people that we need to start recognizing, making offers available to because we want their business. And that's another way, because again, now you have industry on your side, right?
mhm.
And so you want to maximize your chances. Obviously, you want people to hear your stories, but you also want to demonstrate that you are a force to contend with, and you bring with, as part of this community, lots of opportunities for businesses, etc., to tap into.
Absolutely.
So I
I've
think
already
that's really good.
Yeah, so I'm from the business sector. I'm not from the charity sector, which it's similar in a lot of ways. There's a lot of competition with charities. There's a lot of charities out there. Um, and the business side of things, I have already got um, a company who are going to start doing much more modern things with mobility aids. Because I remember taking my daughter to get a wheelchair, and it was so depressing because she was, I think she was about 21 at the time, and it was all aimed at old people.
Yeah.
And I thought, you're already, realizing, oh, I'm disabled, I'm going to need a wheelchair, and then it makes you feel even worse because you feel like, well, I'm going to look really old, and you can't identify with it. And I was saying to them, where's your shiny red ones, where's your pink ones, where's your modern ones? And they just didn't have any. So I've had a really good chat with some guys who are just setting up, who have worked in the industry for a long time, but they're going to give it a really different spin. So that'll be really nice. And the business sector, they notice that obviously they have a lot of time, people having a lot of leave off work because they've got different disabilities that they're maybe not being open about.
Mm.
So they are putting more things in place, and um, we will help with that. We will help educate that and bring people in to chat to them too. Um, One of the other things is a lot of businesses, there's sort of expectations nowadays, and the younger generation are looking for companies who are good to their staff. So
Mm.
they're thinking, I would like to work for them. Oh, they're environmentally friendly. Oh, they do this for the community. Oh, they look after people with, who are struggling with different disabilities and things. And the the businesses are recognizing that, and they have told me that is actually happening. So they are trying to up their game to make sure that they come across as being, we are a really kind, caring community, come work with us. And um, the charity are looking at connecting with those businesses. So we're looking for people with synergy that are going to be really supportive and kind and really ethical types of companies. And, we can help them and they can help us. So, that's something that we're looking at growing as well. I've met some really great businesses, Sparks, who are doing the AV and the lights and everything for us. They do it all for free. I mean, we've had people call it the Oscars, our first ball, and thinking we're spending all our money on the lights and everything. I'm like, no, 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 they literally do it all for free. They're doing it to support us, and they're really help. And they've just created a video actually to say about staff that they have worked with who have got disabilities, who they have helped develop and grown with. And it's a wonderful company. And yeah, and Jade and Press are the same, who do our print sponsors, and the companies who we're looking to build with are that's how they are. And we're going to put them on our website so people can see who they would like to work with as well. So we can we can be really honest as a charity. We don't have any political agenda. We're not trying to do anything for any self gain or anything. So we can be totally honest. Um, yeah, and I want to share all the different types of ideas and things as well. So we wouldn't say, oh, this treatment is going to make you well, but we can say, look at all these treatments, give them a try. We can even supply some free sessions for people to try, which is what we've been doing. They can come and try something and see if it helps. Everybody's different. I mean, the holistic ones, and we don't know what's going to help, but it's sharing the knowledge, sharing the information, and letting people decide for themselves, find it out.
Absolutely. I completely get that. I mean, I think one, lack of knowledge shouldn't equate to a lack of curiosity. I think we cannot just wait for evidence. You cannot develop evidence without experience. And I think we just have to be brave. And I think we have to say everyone's life matters. Everyone deserves quality of life. And every minute of inaction results in someone losing a minute of life that they could have been living. So I'm all for that. And I think what you're doing is amazing. I think it would be really good also to work with insurers and saying, look, offering these patients, because wherever you can make life easier, and there are so many ways of making life easier for people. You talk about accessing toilets, but also being able to access cheaper health insurance or cheaper travel insurance, or yeah, having more access to benefits when you cannot work. All those things make a huge difference. So tremendous. I'm really excited. I'm so grateful that you've invited me, and I look forward to being there on Friday. Um, so if someone wants tickets, do you have like a buzz line or something like that? You could say, well, okay, they need
A
to go
buzz
here.
line.
What is
Um,
how
well,
do they contact you and get the tickets?
yeah, so it's on Eventbrite, but it's also on the website. So the link's on the website. And yeah, there's our email, info@hiddendisabilities.org.uk. If they,
info@hiddendisabilities.org.uk. Okay.
yeah. So if they have got a hidden disability and they can't afford to come, if they send me an email, I'll see what I can do. Or we've got the can you put like a link at the bottom of this if I
I'll
send you the
try.
link?
I'll try.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so and there's the discount code as well, which gives them 20% off. So I should have pulled that up before I came on, shouldn't I? Um, but I'll tell you that at the end. I think it's Fibra. I think it's just Fibra. Um,
FIBR.
yeah,
Okay.
F FIBRA Fibra. Yeah.
Cool.
So that will give them a 20% off as well. But they can say they can email me, or they can if they go on the website, they can send messages on that. They can join, they can become a member. All the events are, apart from the ball, all the events are free that we do. And there's loads, and there's some fabulous ones. We do yoga on the lake. We do kayaking, we do campfire cooking, we do a psychotherapy group therapy once a month, which is really helpful. The next one's actually on grief, but not grief as in losing somebody, grief as in life not being quite what you was expecting,
Yeah.
and how you deal with that. Things that people don't normally get the chance to talk about. The last one was on confidence building. We've had them on anxiety. We've had them on creating healthy boundaries, which is things that some of our members had no boundaries. Initially, they were so excited to meet everybody. And some people have got too many boundaries and they've built a big wall, a big fortress around them. So yeah, we're dealing with lots of different things. And again, looking for that feedback that people give us when they say, well, how about, can we do something on this and can we do something on that? The other thing that I've learned from the community, which we was obviously at a different stage. We was at our personal stage as a family when our daughter got poorly and became disabled. But some of them have got young children, and some of them are really struggling to get out whilst being disabled, maybe being a single parent, and then having a child or a couple of children, because you can become disabled at any time. You know, you could have a car crash, you could have an infection, you could, you know,
Mm.
it could be just genetic. At any time it can happen. And they have been really struggling, and it's really quite sad at times, because some of them have literally turned around and said, you know, I just can't take them out. And one of them said, Natalie, you know, I haven't taken my child out since he was a babe in arms. Um, and he's 5, you know, so it's like that shouldn't be a thing in our society. You know, there should be a support system for that.
Mm.
And so we've started doing a couple of family events as well, and we will do more, because you know, now I can see that that is really needed. So it's putting things in place that people tell me they need. Um, I'm a real doer, Sandra. You know I am. I'm a real doer. But I need direction. Our LEAP group are great, the Lived Experience Advisory Panel. And I think we're going to have an offshoot of that as well, because I've had people contact me from who aren't local, who want to be on the LEAP panel, who want to have a voice and talk about specific topics and how they can help, and how uh, um, strategize, you know, to say this is kind of what we need to build, and this is what we need to create. And I've had a lady from Cambridge University who's in the research department. I've had a lady in Edinburgh who's doing lots of things with disabilities, and all over the place. So I think we'll probably end up doing like a virtual one as well, with people from different areas, because there's some amazing people, and be silly not to, really, wouldn't it? Because we just need to learn and get together with our ideas and make a change, you know.
Well, I am pleased to tell you that a few of my colleagues, people I work with, or people I've gotten to know, are coming along. Someone who is very interested in the idea of making intravenous saline infusions available to the whole nation at a very affordable
Wow. Yeah.
rate. So that, they're coming along because they've seen the benefits in some patients, so they're keen to come and see other patients, other people, and see whether there's the possibility of making this accessible now, because the NHS doesn't. We have a GP who's coming along who's very interested in bringing awareness into primary care. We have um, a herbalist coming along who sort of wants to explore homeopathy and naturopathy as means of improving symptoms in patients with these conditions. And it's all when we all connect, when we all put our heads together, when we all become stakeholders in this, that's when there'll be some progress. Otherwise everyone's
Mm.
sort of, my medicine is better than yours. Well, actually, it isn't, because there are people still suffering. Let's get together. Let's be humble. Let's be accepting. Let's be open. And somewhere we will make strides. So I'm so excited about this, and I'm so grateful that you're doing this. And I will put this out today, and
Okay.
hopefully it will generate some interest, and maybe we'll have a few more people come, because I know you've still got some tickets available, and it would be a great support, I think, to your charity if all the tickets can be used, and ideally, sold. But if not, then at least you're maximizing um,
Yeah.
you're maximizing the benefit of what you're doing for the number of people who are out there. So
Yeah, absolutely. We are recording the event as well, for people who are further away, or if they're not well enough to come out. We are recording it. It's not the same as being in the room,
yeah.
but it's still, you know, it still shares the knowledge, with the presentation side of things. So that will be helpful. Yeah, we're just doing and growing as we can. We do need the community to get behind us. And we will need to fundraise and all those sort of things. But I think the knowledge, creating the case studies that I was saying about, that's free. People can record their own case study at home and send us that in, and help us build that. There's a lot of things we can do with very little resources if we all come together.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Right.
I think, as you say, getting a lot of people together and raising our voices, we can make a big difference. And we'll see what feedback we get, Sanjay, and we'll learn from it and we'll grow with it. So yeah, it'd be exciting to see.
One other exciting bit of news is that, a lot of the general practitioners, NHS places, they've started saying, oh, we're not going to prescribe these medications because they're off formulary, etc. And a lot of patients have to go to private pharmacies to buy the medications. That can be very difficult. So there is a pharmacy, I think, that may be coming along to this, who are actually coming with the specific interest of making medications accessible to everyone at a much cheaper rate. So that may be interesting.
Right.
It's not been
Yeah.
confirmed, but these are all things that I'm just trying to make people who are watching this aware that these are the kind of initiatives that could spark up if there's enough people out there who come together and show these people that there is a real unmet need out there.
I'll tell you what else we're doing as well, which is, again, it's an initiative that some people suggest. At the Leap group, somebody mentioned about first aid and what to do when certain people have flares or triggers or they collapse or whatever. And we've got quite a few people who are like paramedics and ex-nurses or ambulance drivers and those sort of things with those sort of connections. And so we've got a company who is actually going to create us um, short videos on how to deal with specific conditions, like from a first aid perspective, which, because as a family member or as a friend, when you're going out with somebody who,
Mm.
could collapse, or they've got certain conditions, it's a lot of responsibility and it can be quite scary if something happens. So being able to help people develop themselves in that way would be really great. So that is something that we're going to be creating as well, and we'll put them all on the website so people can learn and share with their friends and family. So that was just something that came from somebody going, well, how about I could create this? And was like, well, that would be fabulous, wouldn't it?
Have you come across medical detector dogs as well?
No.
Oh, you should try and contact them because they do fabulous work where they train dogs, and these dogs are then
I've seen them. I've seen them
fantastic.
where they, yeah, but
Changes a person's life, I've found, to have a companion.
I wish we could do that, because they're extremely expensive and there's a huge waiting list, isn't
Yeah,
they? I
yeah, no,
didn't know
there
that's
is.
what they were called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
medical detector dogs. Yeah.
Mm.
That they'd be great. They do often come to this, and they're great because patients love to meet the dogs, and it's incredible how much a dog can offer. Companionship, safety, love. Allows you to become more conditioned because you have something else to work with towards,
Yes.
for the benefit of the dog. A lot of
Mm.
patients may then be incentivized to go for a walk or whatever,
Mm.
those are even, and that is may feel really difficult initially, but that conditioning that comes along with it is beneficial for the patients as well. So very interesting. But those are again really interesting things. I'll send you their details.
Yes,
Uh,
please. Yeah.
in
We've been doing we've done quite a few events at Goxhill Meadows, which is an equine and animal therapy farm. We've done quite a few events there now. And they will become a regular events that we do. And seeing people like there's a young lady and she's got ADHD and she found it extremely calming. And people who've had abuse and things like that, or fatigue, and the animals pick up on it, and they're really, there was just, she actually had the horse, we took the harness and everything off it, and the horse was by her side walking around the field with her and stopping when she stopped and starting when she started, and they was just had this rapport, and it was just amazing. And the sheep, they were playing with the sheep, and they were like dogs, actually. They loved it. They came
So,
running towards.
Natalie, final words. Tell us this code, the code that people can use to get a discount on their ticket for the charity ball.
Yep, it's
Tell us the venue, the date, and where to book.
okay. So it's on Friday, the 6th of September. It's
This
at
right.
this Friday. It's at the Doubletree by Hilton in Hull. There is a train very, very close to it, like a 5-minute walk, and a bus station. The discount code is capital H, small I, capital D. So it's HID dash 2024 dash fibro, all in capital letters. And that will give you 20% off. So that makes it £44. Full price tickets are £55. If you are really struggling, you can email me info@hiddendisabilities.org.uk, and we can see about giving you a free ticket.
Lovely.
So yeah.
I'm
And
very excited. I'm sorry, go on.
yes. Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I want people to know that lots of things are on the way to support people with hidden disabilities, and we are only just getting going, and to not lose hope. And somebody is listening, and we want to learn from you, and we want you to help us help you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjay, and for all you do for the community, because you're absolutely loved by the community. You really care about your patients, and you do so much to support them, and you need some support too, because it's not easy, is it? There's a lot of responsibility, and yeah, that's another conversation for another time, but we do need to support Sanjay as well.
Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see
Okay.
you on Friday. And the other thing is, if anyone does attend and they want to talk to me, why would they if there's all this entertainment? But if anyone wants to talk to me and ask me about their specific situation, then I'd be very happy to on the day.
Yeah, lovely.
Lovely.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sanjay. Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.